Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar. This is in the trading room. We had a session this morning. As usual, we get 3 to 5 sessions a day minimum. When I left, the guys were still trading there, so some of them might be there. I hope they all come over already. And we're going to start. So what we did this morning, like what we did yesterday in the New York session, is we looked at only the trades. We record this in our group. That is the trades that we were in, what we do with those trades, which we close, which we new trades we open. All of that is there. So I showed you that, but these are only for my traders. I can show you again. So when you come into here, we go into, you'll have to come here and find watch list. And this was recorded this morning, right? See, 2 hours ago. That was recorded. That's all the changes we make. What we do with the trades is a step-by-step follow-up. So we had yesterday afternoon for the New York session, 19 hours ago, and then 17. We have this one in 17, and these are recorded constantly. Every couple hours, one of that is recorded. So if you're in the group and you're wondering what happened to the trades that they took this morning, and let's say you couldn't join a live session, you still have access to this. These are recorded live stream. So you get access to that all day, all the time. What we're going to do is eventually, for now, I am doing it, but eventually we want to make sure that, our traders can do it as well. So once we set everything up, the senior traders, when they're in the room without me, they will also have access to live stream it. You can follow up on any trade at any point in time. We also follow up. So a question that I think somebody asked, how are you going to be successful? We did a poll. I don't think it's an internal poll, so I'm not going to share it with you guys, but I can give an idea of the internal poll in our group, what it looks like, because the names are in the poll, so I wouldn't be sharing that, but I can tell you what it looks up. So we asked the questions on our traders. How many of you, the question is, how did you do last week? And that was a poll for last week only. So number one spot is made from 1 to 5%. We have 20, well, I think only about 40 people answered to the poll so far, so we'll have to wait until everybody does answer to it, about 40 something people answer maybe. So the vast majority of our traders, let's say more than half of them, made from 1 to 5%. We got the second highest in terms of trading is 5 to 10%. That is 14. And there are about 18 traders. If you take the out of the 40, there are about 18 that are not trading live, which means they're either trading a demo account or they're not trading it yet. That is new traders who joined us, right? Only about 1 trader so far that answer made more than 10%. So everybody's within the range of from 1 to 10%. And traders who lost money, I think we have, let me open it. How many traders lost money? 3 traders lost money. And we have about 4 traders at break even. So that is from the amount that answer. We leave it there for a week. More traders will answer because traders sometimes coming only at the end of the week to watch, and hopefully I'll get more than 100 plus people to answer. And then we'll have a good variety to give you an idea how it works. So as you can see, traders who make money are much, much more than who lose money in the group. And you'll have that. You may say, well, how is that possible? So a trader make 10% and the other traders are losing money. That is normal. Not all the traders take all the trades we call here, or they might be trading different instruments. Traders make mistakes, they do things by themselves sometimes. All of that is possible. But what we do is we take traders who are struggling or who are losing, who didn't, for whatever reason. We put them, attach them to successful traders, and we coordinate it so that we can manage and get everybody up to date. Now, there's no point in time where you're going to get everybody 100% successful. Even if you get it, it's going to be for a short period of time. But they're going to have wins and losses. On a general thing, you will know that no 100% people are going to do everything the same way. Hopefully, we can get to that point where everybody's making money. That's the whole point we're trying to get to. So, again, for those who ask how to join the group, please send me a Skype message. You'll get all the details. Let's go. So we'll start with the trades as usual. We'll start with the trades we are in, what entries we put, and what we're going to do with the trades. So we looked at these this morning. Silver, we put an entry in silver. This morning when we were in the trade, this drop didn't happen. We put an entry. Now, even if the drop happened, we're not selling it. We're going to pull that entry for the buy, because we were looking at this flag this morning and we're thinking, well, if this flag decides to go up higher, at least back to the top there, we will take that trade, right? It dropped a little, no problem. What we have there is a consolidation. We didn't break the top as well as we didn't break the low. So I still think this is going to go up, but now it's no longer a trade that is worth taking. So let's say this goes up like that. All it needs to do is break this stop, make a flat 1, 2, 3, come back down here like this. And now we will have this for a trade to the upside. We're still in a consolidation. Don't forget that, right? Once we get back to the top, we're going to be in a bigger flat. So I'll put it like this. And if this makes what we think it is, which means if they go back there, come down here, make a flat like this, come back here, this is going to go up. And it may or may not break that top. We will still look for that buy setup. We'll probably try to get it from here for that up move. When it comes, if it breaks the top, great. From that point, we can expect them to drop. I don't think this will continue to go. It's very rare. This is a sharp move. If we're stuck here, if they come back to this level and go back up, that means we're going to have a really, really big consolidation here for downside. So this consolidation can progress, which means it can continue to develop for a long time going sideways. But all of those sideways are tradable, as long as you have a huge range where you can take profit. The range is pretty huge. We've been trading this up and down when we see the trade. So I think this will go back up. It's not a good trade anymore. So we'll take off that trade. We'll wait for it to go back, and then we'll rather look for the sell setup, right? On Aussie gold, we actually put that sell on. It's an aggressive sell, as you know from the marking. We put the sell on, so that's an aggressive sell. What we are hoping for is that this might drop to this level. All right, we'll take a small trade, especially when you're in the Asian session. We take those small trades with a stop here. You're looking for this trade here, and then we'll expect this to go back up. Now, is there a chance this can drop through the low? Well, I showed you yesterday. If we take this to be the contracting flat, then that can drop. And that is one of the reasons we're taking that trade, because there's a possibility that it can drop, right? It didn't move. The goals are there. You mean this chart has an error in it? Oh, okay. No real-time data. So we'll just have to wait until that. If you're in that trade, you may want to take it up. Let me refresh the chart, see if we have anything why they're not giving us real-time data. Okay, they still don't have the real-time data. So if my traders, if you're in that trade, take it off, because you don't want any accident to happen if we're not getting. We'll have to relook at it. We'll have to see if we're getting real-time data from another. Let's see if this is IDC. No, we're not getting real-time data anywhere. So just take off the trade, but it's a possible sell. So thanks for the update. I didn't check it. They don't have the data. So keep an eye on it. It's still a possible sell. If you don't get this sell, then just let it drop to this level, and then we'll look for the buy setup if it goes. If under here it makes any flag this afternoon, we'll sell it again. So I guess we'll probably get data. As soon as there's real-time data, we'll come back and relook at it, right? Pong is still a sell setup. That has not changed. It's going up higher. We moved this up. So we had it here. We put it here. Now we have it here. It's still a sell setup. Now there's a chance it's still going to go back up. This is giving you 1, 2, 3. There's a chance it will make another high there. And it might even continue to go up for a while more. As long as we haven't broken that top, we're looking for the sell, right? We're in consolidation. All the charts are in some kind of a consolidation. And they all have the possibility of developing more, right? So once this drop, we'll have to be careful when it breaks this low, because from here, it can go back up. We're hoping that it drops through the bottom. That is the trade we're going for, right? So this one also not working. What the hell happened to all my charts? So do we know if this broke already? All
on FXCM, it's move normal, Anil. Only Oanda.
So we have to change all, and I have all of them on Oanda. So we're going to have a problem. We'll have to change all of them. Okay, so this went up already, right? So let's put it like this. Okay, guys, we'll have to switch charts every now and then. I don't know, one that's having a problem. So this trade is still valid. Now you can put it here. Now you'll put the entry order here. Follow this, we'll put the sell here. If it drops, you want this trade. This will eventually drop. This correction here will eventually drop. The only time we're not going to take the sell is if it comes back to the top, right? If it goes all the way like this to the top there, well, then there is still a sell setup. It still will do this, but the sell might not be a very good trade depending on how because then we'll look for the buy setup. We'll look at that as flat for the buy. But as of this point, it's a good sell. It might just give you one impulse and go back up. It could come all the way to the bottom and go back up. I explained this yesterday, right? So if you want more details, watch it yesterday webinar. New Zealand. If we had on trades that I took off, right? I don't want to go into those. You will have to, I don't know, if you want access to those recordings, subscribe. It's very cheap. I explained the subscription. Send me a message, I'll give you, you'll get them, because it's going to take a lot of time to have to go through all of them. So we're looking for a buy setup here, and this would be a short-term trade, right? The idea of this is that it was dropping, we saw it dropping, so we decided this is making a flat, which means this is going to go back up. So we're looking for this straight up. Now watch it, it might not break that up. This might just come only like this. So that's an aggressive buy. You would have to get out of the trade pretty quick if it doesn't go, which means if this just comes to this level here and decide to drop for a flat like this, we would decide whether we want to sell it. We'll look at this as a flat, and then we look at that as upside. All depends on how high this comes. Sometimes you get a running flat, they break the top, then pull back, then go, right? So we're going for the buy setup. On CAD, remember yesterday we wanted it to just come down, and if it makes a flag, then you can sell. There was a flag yesterday afternoon. If any of you noticed that, if you got the flag here, this would have been your sell, right? Because you got a flag. Now you got to be careful, because it can still be a running flat, which means they can still stop and go back up. For me to sell it again, we need another flag. So if we get another flag today, which means if this thing consolidates anywhere, I think again, we're having problem with this. Let me just go to FXCM and try. Yes, an FXCM, right? That was the flag. So for us to sell it this again, if we're going to sell it, let's say this is going down totally. It did break the top, right? Wait for another correction and then sell. Wait for another flag and then sell. Go to the 4 hour. I'll have to go change all my charts to FXCM. See this one here? We broke the top. So I showed you the pattern in my chart, which means I have to redo it here. Take this off. We'll have to redo it. So the pattern we're looking at is this one. That's the flat. You've been with us. We did this one, we did two, we did three. Now this can still pull back and go one more up before it comes, right? We're selling this as a pullback right now. If this is going to drop and break the low, good for all of us. I don't think it's going to do that. So what we're selling now is the possibility of a pullback. And if you're going to sell here, you wait for a flag. The sell from yesterday is already gone. If it wasn't there when we were in the trading room, but even in the New York session, it wasn't there. It said this was going up. But if it made a flag and you sell, perfect. If not, wait for another flag, sell. Any flag now was a sell. Any reversal for the buy, remember we had it as a buy when it was here, right? As a possible run. If this is going to be a buy, it has to go up, make a flag, and we buy from there. It could still be a running flat for a buy, which means one more high. And we'll absolutely buy. But as of now, we don't have any trade set up. So you take it out, wait for a trade setup, wait for a flag, sell it. Here in New Zealand, we just put an entry at the top of this one as well, which means we think that this big consolidation could go back to the top and then come down, or it could break out. If we look at it as a possible running flat, that running flat is not excluded as yet. If this comes break the low, we don't want to sell. I explained this yesterday already. We are not interested in the selling this. Let it come down here and then we look for the buy setup. Now, how low this can go? We're in a big consolidation, right? We're in that big consolidation. If this is the one that is coming back to this low, let it break that structure. Any consolidation after that would be a trade back to this level and then up again, right? Now, there's a good chance this still goes up. So we're leaving the buy setup there. Come back to the 1 hour, the buy setup is still valid. We're still in the sideways move here. We haven't really gone anywhere. The buy setup is still valid. So now you can put it still an aggressive buy, because once it comes to this level, you have to get it out. You have to move to break even. Euro pound. This trade should be active. Actually, we put this on this morning. Let's change it again. Let's see in FXCM. You probably be tagged in it. I don't know if you're tagged as yet. We put that entry order here this morning. Right, we have an entry order there. This is still a sell setup. We're looking at this as a correction. All of this here is a correction and expect it to drop. The bigger picture is downside. Right, the bigger I showed yesterday, and the bigger picture is this big correction that finished, that completed itself, and we're looking for downside. So the worst case scenario is you'll watch this when it breaks, when this break and drop to this level. If we're making a bigger flat there, let's say for whatever reason that's a bigger flat to go back up, we'll take it, right? I believe we made this big flat here. So if we made this big flat here, then there's no reason for that one. This could drop, but let's assume this is something of its own, right? If that is something of its own, then this could be a bigger running flat. You still have a good trade there to go to break even or take small profit before it go back before it goes back up. So we're expecting much more downside here. So that sell is an aggressive one, but it's valid because we really don't have a flag as such there. We're assuming that this is the flag that will drop, and let's see if it goes. Right, just under a very, very small flag. You can put it as a sell now because it's already tagging, so it's not that an aggressive sell anymore. It's more of a sell. Let's see. Punkad, we had a buy setup. It didn't go. We moved the entry lower. Right, this came down yesterday. I warned you. The reason we kept it here yesterday is because this could have gone up there, come back down. So we're still in the consolidation. Can this go back up here and come back down? Sure. In that case, you want to stay above the last impulse. You want to keep this above this stop, right? There was a question as to how high you want to keep it above. That's, like I said, that's up to you. You can decide that how high you want to keep it, how much pips you want to stay above that. But that is the buy setup. This is still a buy. It's still upside. We will move it down. You can't sell in that. You can sell in that. I shouldn't say you can, but it's a waste of your time and a waste of energy trying to sell in that. We're looking for a buy setups. Right? Let's go. Aussie Swiss. So this is a sell setup. The setup itself is a sell, but because of where we are in the 4 hour, why do I move the entry? Just keep the question for afterwards. I'll explain it. We move it lower. We'll always follow the correction lower. I explained that. Well, I'll explain later. Keep it for afterwards. So the reason we have a buy setup here is a very aggressive buy setup is because of where we are in the chart. This is making a flag, but if you look at the internals of it, it's incomplete, which means there's at least one more move up, right? I'm looking at it this way. This is an up move. This is the consolidation. This will give me at least one more move like that. And then it can drop. It can do this and drop. Now, why we're taking that trade? It's a pretty high risk trade, but why? Because we're at the bottom of the structure. If this is a flat for upside, it's going to take off like a rocket rather than giving a flat, right? So we're taking that trade. We'll manage that trade, which means we will manage that trade at least before. We'll manage that trade before before the New York session comes. So we're going to try to get out of that trade. But if that trade goes our way, then we're going back all the way back to the top here, right? So it's an aggressive entry. It doesn't have a perfect setup, but there's at least one more move up. Normally, when it's like this and it comes here, this becomes a flat and this drop. We will go with the sell. If that happens and we get break even in the trade for the buy, we will take the sell, right? So let's see how that goes. Put it in the 1 hour and we'll see what this does, right? So we're taking a trade. It's a very aggressive one. This trade is for my traders who know how to manage it. If you want to follow what we do, you have to be aware that you'll have to manage this trade really aggressively, right? Let's go. New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, I still think this is making a running flat. Now we're looking for a buy, but we can't take the buy at the top there like yesterday where we had it because it came up pretty low. See this there? Once it makes this move, we're anticipating a down move. Now, if we're wrong about that and this is a correction of its own and this is going up a lot, we'll still want the trade, right? But how do we know that it's doing that? There's no, this could be the low and we're going up, or this could be a running flat, just like this previously, right? These flats and drop. So what if it's making one like that and it's going to drop? You have to be careful if you're taking trades. So what we're going to try to do is get this trade at the lower point. We want this trade somewhere here. We wanted to prove that it is going to go up and it has to give us a flag somewhere in here. So all we need is this to go up like this, somewhere here, make a flag, and then we will buy that flag back to break the top, put it to positive and see how far it goes. Right? Let's see if we get that. And we'll do it on the 15. That would be a flag at the 15 minutes if you can manage it. Canadian, this could have gone both ways. We took the buy. See, we took the buy here. Now, if you took the buy, what we did yesterday in my trading room, if you weren't there, is we put an entry for a sell here also. So this is something we did in the trading room. So the buy got tagged and then they went sideways. Two things you can do. You can close the trade and put an entry above the top, which is what my traders would do. That's one option. All right, let me put this on the, let's look at the FXCM chart. Okay, this chart is not fully thing yet. So what we would do is you got tagged in the trade there. It's consolidated. We close the trade, put an entry above the top, as well as we put a sell here. Why did we put a sell with a stop loss at break even? So for my traders, they had two options: put it to break even and put a stop loss here, put a sell setup here if this drops. Right? If you put it at break even, you will take break even and trade it. If you close the trade, put a sell setup here, put an entry above the top. Now, this is a little difficult. You have to understand the whole structure for me to explain everything what we just did there, right? So we're expecting this to come back down. I explained that to you guys, right? So we're expecting it to some way come back down, right? It's not going to take off like a rocket. It's going to come back a little down and then continue to go. So we're expecting at least a little pullback, something like this, and then maybe continue to go for a running flat here. In that case, we have the sell. But in case it goes much higher before that happens, we are in the buy. So it had both ways. If you were in the room yesterday with us, we put a buy, we closed the buy, we re-enter. For my traders, you got tagged on the buy here. You close that buy here, you put an entry under there. You're in the buy, put that buy to break even. Because this could drop anytime. Right? If you're in that buy, put that to break even. Because, or put it in the some profit because that could drop anytime. It's very slow move up. Don't forget, we have this impulse. We haven't got anything for it, right? This impulse here, we haven't got anything for it. So what you have is an up move. You got a flat, and you got another up move. This could drop anytime like this and then go back up. That is why you can put a sell here as well. So if you put your trade to break even, put a sell entry under the low. So we're going to do that here now. We'll put a sell entry under this low. It's both sides, right? We put an order to sell here. And if you're in the trade, you'll have that traded positive, right? So we'd assume that you're in the trade and you're break even at this level, and it's a sell. You will have a stop at break even and you'll have a sell level there. Why? Because if it makes a sudden drop like that, you want that trade. Susian, this didn't do anything much. We're hoping that this would drop. It's not going to drop anymore. Take that off because it could come back to the top. So we're literally just going sideways doing this. When that happens, you tend to channel at the top. Now, do I think that's a running flat for upside? It's possible. You can look at this as a 1, 2, 3, and this one goes up. It's going up really slow. I don't think we need the buy at the top there. It's at a daily top, so we're not looking for a buy at the top, especially when the market is moving so slow. We're waiting for a sell setup when we get it. So 2 attempts at getting this sell didn't work, which means they didn't go. Our first sell was on this low. When it broke the top, we took it off. Our second sell was here. When it came back to the top, we took it off. It's back at the top. It's really back at the top. So the sell is still possible, but it becomes pretty risky now. If you're going to sell it at this point, you would want to put an entry. You can put an entry for a sell here, a very aggressive sell. I put a line at the top. Why? Because if it breaks the top, take it off. Just like this one. If it breaks the top, take it off. Right? If the top is tagged or broken, or it's pretty close, so there's risky. What do I mean by that? Is that this could literally just drop here and go back up. You don't have to get it for break even. But if it starts to drop really hard, you want the trade because we're at the daily top. So we have this one. We're making an assessment that it might be a contracting flat. If that's a contracting flat, this is the top. This is an impulse. This is a correction. This control. Here is the thing. If this breaks the top, we'll go with the running flat. Right, we'll go with the running flat. Initially, we had the running flat in mind, right? So it could be 1, 2, 3. This breaks the top, wait for impulse, wait for a flag, sell. We're not interested in the buy, right? And that's it for those trades. We don't really look at these, but this morning we checked them. We're looking for a sell here and this one under the low. They actually went up a little more. It's still consolidation in the 1 hour. Look at that. That's still consolidation. If you change this to any other, I don't know, we have it in a 1 only. So we'd assume that we don't have a 1 that has having problem, but it's probably somewhere here. And the same should be for this, right? We're looking for a sell. We will only change these to buy. Remember, I showed you they're all at the bottom of the structure. I showed you that, right? They can go back up. So the only way we're going to look at buy setups here is if we start to get flags, if we start to get flags like these, right? So if it starts to make a flag here, by New York session, we can buy. If it is going to drop, you want an entry order for the sell. It can drop. The same for this, right? The same for this. And it will be the same for S&P 500. Right? The same for S&P 500, the same for US 30. Only if they start to make flags, we're going to buy. Otherwise to that. And I think they're going to go up. We explained that yesterday. I think they're literally going to go back up. This is probably going to go back up here to make a flat and then drop. We need a flag. Give us a flag like this, give us a flag like that, give us a flag like this, and we will buy it back to them. We don't have any flag on them. Right?